This is not worth it.
Was the injunction to remove her from the house?
He didn't do anything. He didn't try to prevent it or anything like that. I can't say that.
She's, I'm not losing you to the world. I'm not losing you to Satan. She's, I'm not doing this.
So that was the first time you were hearing?
That's the first time I'd heard that. She never told me any of those things.
Do you wish you'd helped her get out of?
Whitney Houston's mom has some shocking secrets about her daughter.
Well, yeah, but I don't think she was ready to get out of it.
Do you believe that Whitney and Robin were in a gay relationship?
I don't really know. I thought, I didn't particularly like her.
And we're going to unveil them today. Some of these are downright horrifying.
You say Bobby was home, and when the door swung open...
He was home. He didn't say a word.
They were standing
Get yourself
there.
together.
Was she high?
In 2013, Cissy Houston, Whitney Houston's mother, shared her feelings about her daughter's unexpected death in a memoir titled Remember Whitney: My Story of Love, Loss, and the Night the Music Stopped. In excerpts obtained by People magazine, Cissy expressed her sorrow, saying, "I'm angry she died alone in those conditions." Whitney Houston, the Grammy-winning singer, was discovered face down in a bathtub at the Beverly Hills Hilton on February 11, 2012, the night before the Grammy Awards. The death was extremely suspicious. Reflecting on her daughter's struggles, Cissy wrote, "She started partying and she didn't really know how to stop. I used to wonder what she was doing at night, where she was." She also mentioned that Whitney distanced herself, often hiding from her. Importantly, Cissy clarified that she did not hold Whitney's ex-husband Bobby Brown responsible for her issues, stating, "I blame him for the way he treated her, but I don't blame him for her problems." Whitney Houston's impact on the music industry was profound, defined by her unmistakable voice and a career that ended abruptly and tragically. On February 11, 2012, just before the Grammy Awards, Houston tragically died from accidental drowning in a hotel room. Her passing left behind her daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, who herself passed away 3 years later at the age of 22. Known as The Voice, Houston's powerful vocals continued to garner acclaim even after her death. However, her personal struggles, including a well-documented battle with addiction, often overshadowed her musical achievements toward the end of her life. Houston's legacy was further immortalized in the 2022 biopic I Wanna Dance with Somebody. Actress Naomi Ackel, who portrayed Houston, expressed her hope that Houston would approve of her portrayal, saying, "I would hope she would be like, okay, Nye, you did a thing." Director Cassie Lemons aimed to humanize Houston in the biopic, emphasizing, "I think she would be cool with it, and I think she would want the story told. She would want her humanness told." The final details of Whitney Houston's death on February 11th provide a clearer picture of the scene, where the star was discovered face down in a water-filled bathtub with paraphernalia nearby, and confirm the coroner's initial report that she drowned by accident. The Los Angeles County Coroner's 42-page report also reveals some previously unknown and often surprising details about the singer at the time of her death, as well as what was discovered in her hotel room at the Beverly Hilton, and provides glimpses into the addictions that plagued one of the greatest singers of all time. According to the coroner's report, the bathroom where Houston died contained a small spoon with a white crystal-like substance in it and a rolled-up piece of white paper. Snorting requires the use of such items. Some people use a spoon for administration, a law enforcement official involved in Houston's case stated. These days, it's likely around for meth, which was not found at the scene, according to the investigator, so likely used as inhalation tool. Previous reports claim she had traces of and prescription medications in her system. Both the initial and final reports stated that blood tests showed she smoked within 2 weeks of her death. Is legal in California when used for medical purposes. According to forensic toxicologist Bruce Goldberger, the details in her blood from the toxicology report indicate that she was acutely intoxicated from at the time of her death and a repeated user. According to the final report, there were plethoras of prescription medication bottles in the room. The final report lists a total of 12 medications prescribed by 5 different doctors, including the anti-anxiety medication Xanax and the muscle relaxant Flexeril. Goldberger described the level of prescription in her system as mild and claimed that Xanax had no role in her death. An open bottle of sat on the minibar, as did an open can of on the table. There was also a bottle of on the nightstand, as well as some loose tablets. Houston's family was surprised to learn that she had resumed use. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, Whitney's sister-in-law, Pat Houston, blamed her downfall on a lifestyle change in which she saw Whitney chasing a dream, looking for comfort, love, and it was younger. Whitney, she claimed, was pursuing someone that would ultimately hurt her. While admitting to being concerned about the singer's behavior at a party 2 nights before her death, Pat Houston told Winfrey that she did not believe the star was abusing in her final days. However, after the initial toxicology report was released, Houston issued a statement to the Associated Press. "We are saddened to learn of the toxicology results, although we are glad to now have closure." The coroner reported that when Houston was discovered in her room at the Beverly Hilton, her purse contained her wallet, but the decedent's California driver's license had been removed from the wallet, which was inside the purse prior to my arrival. Also prior to my arrival, the majority of the decedent's prescription medication bottles had been removed from a brown bag that was on top of the table in the southeast corner of the living room, and then placed on top of that same table, according to the document. The singer's death was not the result of foul play, according to investigations. It is unclear how many plastic surgeries Houston underwent over the course of her life, but it is now clear that she underwent augmentation surgery. The coroner's report described small scars on her breasts as associated with breast implants. Her problems have often been associated with her rocky relationship with her ex. It was a perfect match for the Billboard charts. The Princess of Pop marries the Prince of New Jack Swing. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, who married in 1992, were the recording industry's darlings. By the time they divorced in 2007, their marriage had become a staple of gossip columns thanks in large part to suspicions of adultery, extensive use, allegations of physical abuse, and declining professional reputations. At the time of their first meeting, at the Soul Train Music Awards in 1989, Houston, then 25, was riding an unstoppable tsunami of fame, while Brown, 20, had already released a hit record. His 1988 album, Don't Be Cruel, delivered 5 top 10 songs, including My Prerogative and Every Little Step, and earned him the Best Male R&B/Urban Contemporary Album Award at the 1989 ceremony. He was hot, he was on fire, Houston told Rolling Stone of their first encounter in the Soul Train Awards audience. I and some friends of mine were sitting behind him. I was hugging them. We were laughing, and I kept hitting Bobby in the back of the head. I leaned over and said, "Bobby, I'm so sorry." And he turned around and looked at me like, "Yeah, well, just don't let it happen again." And I was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't like me." Well, I always get curious when somebody doesn't like me. Despite their 5.5-year age difference, they quickly began dating. According to Rolling Stone, Houston turned down Brown's initial marriage proposal, saying, "It was not in my plans," but love bloomed, according to Houston. The pair married on July 18, 1992, yet both publicly and privately, many questioned their union. She was America's current sweetheart with a pristine image based on songs about love and longing. Meanwhile, he was the reigning bad boy of music, having been shot before, being associated with gangs as a teenager, and already having 3 children with 2 different women. "You know, Bobby and I basically come from the same place," Houston told Rolling Stone. "Bobby comes from Boston, out of the projects. I come from Newark, out of the projects. Bobby has 2 very strong parents. I have 2 very strong parents." Though it appeared to be a mismatch, Houston had a lengthy history of attraction to so-called bad guys, having dated Eddie Murphy. In a February 1992 Vanity Fair story, writer Lynn Hirschberg described the couple as the inverse of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Like Ginger, Bobby gives a charge to the pure image of Whitney, Fred, while she graces him with a veneer of class. 4 months after the wedding, Houston received additional popularity with the release of the film The Bodyguard, in which she played a terrified singer who was protected by a security officer, Kevin Costner. The film was a worldwide success, and the soundtrack featured a plethora of Houston classics, including Queen of the Night, I Have Nothing, Run to You, and I Will Always Love You. Houston received 3 Grammy Awards for the album. Bobby Christina Brown, their only daughter, was born in March 1993. Although the first year of marriage brought happiness and a growing family, the couple was already dogged by rumors about their relationship. There was a report that Houston was having an affair with her longtime confidant and staffer, Robin Crawford. Crawford, Houston's friend since high school, was the maid of honor at his wedding to Brown and remained a mainstay in the singer's life. Houston rejected the reports, but they continued. In the 2018 documentary Whitney, Brown and Houston's family members hinted at a romantic involvement. According to the 2008 memoir Bobby Brown, The Truth, The Whole Truth, and Nothing But, Brown stated that his marriage to Houston was doomed from the very beginning. I think we got married for all the wrong reasons. Now I realize Whitney had a different agenda than I did. I believe her agenda was to clean up her image, while mine was to be loved and have children. The media was accusing her of having a biased relationship with her assistant. In Whitney's situation, the only solution was to get married and have kids. That would kill all speculation, whether it was true or not. In his memoir, Brown also confesses to his own infidelity. Women are always throwing themselves at you. He says, I'm only human, so I would make the mistake and bite the hook sometimes. I let the testosterone take over. Only a few years into their marriage and firmly in the tabloid spotlight, the couple's apparent increasing use fueled an already raging gossip fire. Brown, who is frequently accused of introducing Houston to contradicts this charge in his 2017 biography Every Little Step, stating he first saw Houston consume on their wedding day. Houston was struggling with her demons and had grown increasingly unpredictable, canceling 5 gigs during her 1999 tour, including a sold-out arena event in her birthplace of Newark 15 minutes before showtime. She was becoming increasingly skinny, arriving late for photo shoots, and was supposedly sacked from an Oscar ceremony appearance in 2000 due to a poor rehearsal performance. It was clear that her voice was struggling. In a 2002 interview with ABC's Diane Sawyer, Houston admitted to using and pills, but denied using crack, saying, "Crack is whack," a catchphrase rapidly adopted by comedians and late-night talk show hosts in reference to the now erratic singer. During their tumultuous marriage, Bobby Brown faced multiple related to while Whitney Houston checked into rehab twice. Reflecting on her struggles, Houston candidly admitted to Oprah Winfrey in 2009 how her use escalated, especially after the release of The Bodyguard in 1992. "We were lacing with bass," she shared. Addressing rumors of abuse, Houston clarified that while Brown was emotionally abusive, she denied ongoing physical abuse, acknowledging only one instance of him slapping her, which she reciprocated. Despite their personal challenges, she supported Brown during his legal troubles in 2003, when he was accused of hitting her. Professionally, Houston faced setbacks when her mentor, Clive Davis, departed Arista Records in 2000, her label at the time. Personally, she mourned the loss of her father in 2003 due to heart disease and diabetes. However, it was her appearance on the reality show Being Bobby Brown in 2005 that raised concerns among her friends. The show, focusing on their daily lives, showed a raw and unfiltered side of Houston, complete with colorful language and moments that surprised fans and friends alike. Meanwhile, Brown, who had taken a hiatus from music to focus on family, released his 4th solo album, Forever, in 1997, which unfortunately didn't fare well. This marked the only album he produced during their marriage. A decade after their initial separation in 2006, Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown officially divorced, with Houston gaining custody of their daughter, Bobby Christina. Reflecting on the end of their marriage during an interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2009, Houston admitted she had sensed something was amiss long before they split. "I just knew," she recalled. "There were signs, you know? You can sense it when things aren't right." She revealed that rumors of Brown's infidelity prompted her to investigate further, ultimately leading her to confront the truth and start distancing herself from their relationship. "I asked him to leave, but he wouldn't," Houston added. Despite the challenges, Houston emphasized that she had always been committed to her marriage vows and denied ever straying herself. "I never cheated. I never did any of that stuff," she affirmed. "My focus was on my family and dealing with my own struggles." Tragically, Houston passed away 5 years after their divorce, found deceased in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in 2012. The coroner's report cited accidental drowning with heart disease and use as contributing factors. In a haunting echo of her mother's fate, Bobby Christina was discovered unconscious in a bathtub at her Georgia home in 2015. Despite initial efforts to save her, she passed away 6 months later at the age of 22. The medical examiner's report indicated intoxication as a significant factor in her death. Not soon after, Bobby Brown has stability in his personal life. He married Alicia Etheridge in 2012, and they have 3 children together. Brown has continued to pursue his music career, performing with a reunited New Edition and releasing new music, including his 2018 single Like Bobby. He has publicly shared his journey to sobriety, celebrating 15 years free from narcotics in 2018. In the 2018 documentary Whitney, sources close to the Grammy-winning singer revealed that she endured abuse during her childhood, leading to psychological trauma that haunted her throughout her life. Whitney Houston's longtime assistant, Mary Jones, told Whitney director Keith McDonald that Houston was allegedly by her cousin, Grammy-nominated singer Dee Dee Warwick. Warwick was 18 years older than Houston. Whitney's brother, Gary Garland Houston, also claimed that both he and Whitney were abused by a female family member during their childhood, though he did not explicitly name Warwick. These incidents reportedly took place while their mother, Cissy Houston, was on tour. Jones suggested that Whitney's experience of abuse influenced her decision to bring her daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, on tour with her. She also alleged that Whitney's struggles with and substance abuse later in life were deeply connected to her childhood trauma. According to Jones, Whitney's marriage to Bobby Brown in 1992 was an attempt to stabilize her feelings. Contrary to popular belief, insiders claim that Whitney was involved with long before she met Bobby Brown. Her handlers and record label reportedly pushed the narrative that Brown introduced her to these dangerous habits, but Rudy Dolezal, director of the 2017 documentary Whitney Can I Be Me?, called this a fairy tale. Speaking to the New York Post, Dolezal stated, "The idea that Whitney was a great girl until Bobby came along is simply not true. Whitney took and smoked weed long before she could even spell Bobby Brown." In the documentary, Whitney's longtime stylist, Ellen LeVar, noted that use was a common activity for Whitney and her brothers. They did. It was the thing you do. You go out, you party, you drink, you do a little. Everybody did it, and her brothers gave it to her. It was just something you do to have fun. So Whitney's older brother, Michael Houston, admitted that he introduced her to. On Oprah's Next Chapter, he expressed his guilt, saying, "I feel responsible for what I let go so far. We played together. Everything that you do together as you're growing up. And then when you get into you do that together too. And it just got out of hand. You gotta understand, at the time, the 80s, it was acceptable. In the entertainment industry, it was just like available. It wasn't like a bad word like it is now." Sources told People that Whitney Houston faced immense pressure from fame and the expectations of those around her, which made her feel like she couldn't be her true self. There were a lot of expectations in terms of who she was and who people thought she was. A source close to the singer's family revealed, "Not being able to be herself 100% was a heavy burden. On the outside, she seemed sturdy and strong, but inside, she struggled with insecurities, family issues, and emotional battles." Once Houston signed with legendary producer Clive Davis, the constraints grew tighter. She had to do what he said, wear what he chose, sing his songs, and act like a goody two-shoes when she was really a down-and-dirty girl from Jersey, said an insider. Whitney definitely resented that. A music industry source added, "Clive turned her into a mainstream pop star, fulfilling her wildest dreams, but it came at a price. She had to put on a facade for the cameras, which wasn't the real Whitney." A family friend told People that Whitney turned to as a form of rebellion against her manufactured image and the control others tried to exert over her. Became her rebellion against it all, the friend explained. There has to be some outlet. For her, it became. A music industry insider agreed, noting that Houston used to escape her pain. Unfortunately, her use escalated from casual to addictive. Things got worse and worse, a family source recounted. When she was using, she lost sense of who she was and who others were, becoming angry and lashing out. "We took turns checking on her in Atlanta when things were bad." The insider added that enablers allowed Whitney to do as she pleased, fearing they'd be fired if they weren't cooperative. In Bobby Brown's 2016 book, Every Little Step, he admitted that he and Whitney failed their daughter Bobby Christina by frequently using in her presence. Whitney's use worsened after Bobby Chris was born. Maybe it was because she had to stop using while pregnant, but she resumed with a vengeance. Brown wrote, "I would try to keep Whitney away from our daughter when she was high, but no one could control Whitney. She did what she wanted. Our daughter grew up in the middle of all this," he continued. "She often saw us high and was around us when we were messed up. We tried to shield her from it, but it was hard to see her only when we were sober." How much quality time can you spend with your daughter when you're high all the time? This went on for years. Our daughter saw it all. When I think about it now, I feel enormous pain. Los Angeles Times writer Amy Kaufman, who watched the documentary Whitney at the Cannes Film Festival, claims it paints a grim picture of Bobby Christina Brown. The doc reveals that Bobby Christina once attempted while Houston was alive, cutting her arms. Kaufman tweeted, "She apparently said she wished she could find a way to kill her mother without anyone finding out." In the film, a woman identified as Aunt BAE claims that after Whitney Houston came home from the hospital with baby Bobby Christina, she primarily left the child in Aunt Bay's care for the first 8 years of her life. Though Bobby Brown and Houston seem to dote on their daughter in public, sources in the documentary allege they were neglectful parents who exposed Bobby Christina to at a young age. In the 2016 book Whitney and Bobby Christina, The Deadly Price of Fame, author Ian Halperin claims Whitney Houston was targeted by a Chicago lawyer who tried to extort her. On the eve of the Bodyguard film debut in 1992, the attorney allegedly demanded $250,000 from Houston or he would go public with intimate details about her love life. Whitney's father, John Houston, reportedly settled the matter by sending a confidentiality agreement almost immediately. It was unclear how much money was paid to silence the person and whether he met the initial demand for $250,000. What kind of dirt was the lawyer to dish? It might have had something to do with rumors about Whitney's romantic relationship with her longtime assistant and close friend Robin Crawford. Whitney and her mother, Cissy Houston, denied these claims, but even Bobby Brown alleged in his book Every Little Step that Whitney was biased. In Whitney, Can I Be Me?, Whitney's former bodyguard David Roberts says Bobby Brown and Robin Crawford were like fire and ice. They hated each other. They'd battle for her affections. Former stylist Ellen LeVar adds in the film, "I think she was biased. Robin provided a safe place for her." That's all for the video, folks. Thanks for watching.